All of this about the fight against corruption is very, very important for the president, because it will seem as if that was the one thing, if you ask him over and over again, that he loved so much that he felt he was coming to do. And if we get in this vibe from his kitchen cabinet, because when you use that word, what came to mind was the First Lady warning, Mr. President, you just might not like us to go into that, but whether we like it or not, the First Lady spoke about that kitchen cabinet, and now we're getting to see the kitchen cabinet also perhaps not having a firm grasp of what is happening. How this got to the Senate without the executive handling it within its own house, doing its own house cleansing, is one bit that Nigerians will really find very funny for them, whichever way they come up with their own explanation to this. But it would seem as if looking ahead now, we've seen that Garba has said the president has asked that investigations be carried out on Mr. Magu and even the SGF, though we're not looking at the SGF today. Doesn't this tell you that I think there's this renewed, urgency for the president to quickly clean up the mess around those within his cabinet?
You see, let us be honest. The mere fact that the nomination was refused or rejected or not approved is a challenge to the authority of the executive, and the president on his own must investigate that. That fact alone, that, oh, I sent a nominee and the nominee was rejected by the Senate, is a blow on the presidency. He has to investigate why the refusal. But now the refusal is known because of the adverse report on the DSS. So what do you want to investigate about Mr. Magu's case, more than the fact that the DSS wrote a negative report about him, and the Senate says, oh, because of this negative report, we are refusing approval? Okay. The important thing is for the president to say, okay, I will look into that aspect. Why my kitchen cabinet should make a mistake to forward a name that has a negative report.
Do you see some double standards here? I'm bringing this off the top of my head. I'm thinking of the judges that were raided. No one has said carry out an investigation on this before that activity after the DSS raid, but on this one of Mr. Magu, we've seen that the presidency is disturbed, and they have their own investigation that will kick off any moment from now. So one on the other side is, a highway straight, move straight off and hit it and go. On the other side, there seems to be a bit of a winding way.
Well, it would be naive of me to say that I don't know the inner working in the presidency. I've been solicitor to Shagari. I've been friends to national security advisors, to military heads of states. I know that every night the national security advisor hopefully might be the last person to see the head of state or to let him know what is going on. At the stage DSS sent this report to the Senate, the national security advisor is aware of it. The question is, did he report to Mr. President that, look, your nominee for this position may not be accepted because my department has just given me a copy of a report which I believe will not allow his appointment. So let us be honest with ourselves. Whether that report was ever given to Mr. President is a moot question. But at least the National Security Advisor was aware of it. We know his role in governance. So if Mr. President is not aware, then some people are playing mischief somewhere.
Okay.
Some people are playing mischief.
I think Mark has some questions for you.
Yes, I just want to ask quickly, do you think from what you've seen so far, Mr. Magu has been in acting capacity at the EFCC for a while now. Would you say that he is suited to the position of EFCC chairman?
Do I think it's what? Did you get that?
Suited.
Yeah,
I mean, is he suitable?
If he's fit to be the chairman of EFCC.
Look, let me be honest. With his background, I have studied his background. I was one of those who, on this program once I had criticized him, but I've discovered after my criticism that he had changed a lot. And I think I mentioned it here thereafter, that after my criticism, there are many things. I now believe...
Then you were talking about the style of arrest, and you said he's changed.
Oh yeah, he's changed a lot. So I think he's a fit and proper person to occupy the post. Let us be honest. His background is there. The only problem is this negative report. On the performance, as she wants to know, I think he can perform very well. The question is, based on this report, will the image of the government, you know, in regards to the fight against corruption, will it have a mouth to say, yes, we are fighting corruption? That is the problem. Regarding his capacity to carry out the duties, I can swear that Magu is somebody who can do it.
And from what
I have respect for him.
From what you just raised, I'm getting the feeling that they just might drop him and get someone else.
Oh, let's be honest. Let's be honest. We live in a world where people are... The world is so small now. It's just like in America. Somebody is being asked to be the head of the FBI, because that is what the EFCC is. And then the CIA now sends a letter to the Senate committee to say, this FBI man you want to go, this is what we have against his background. They will never appoint him, because there's a presumption that the paper from the CIA is correct. You see, we lawyers, we give that in our Evidence Act, that when I tender a document from the government, signed by any authorized signature of them, there is a presumption of regularity attached to the contents. But it's a rebuttable presumption.
So how can we help the institution? Because if you look at it historically, almost everyone who's headed the EFCC has had a very, bad exit.
Well, a bad exit in the sense that there was a change of governance. Because when Ribadu was there, he was the golden eyeball of Obasanjo. It was when Obasanjo left that Yar'Adua saw in him certain traits which Obasanjo never saw. So when they are the man in power that appoints them is still there, they are the golden boy. When the man leaves, when Waziri was there, she was brought in by Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua brought in Waziri. When Jonathan came in, Waziri was removed. Lamode was brought in. And when this new set came in, Lamode was removed and he is brought in. So I don't accept from you that many of our pre-EFCC chairmen have left out of frustration. It's just because of change of political status.
Mr. Clarke, what should we be looking at to see the EFCC strengthen in terms of leadership? Should we continue to have this?
Well, I'm happy you're asking me this question. Let me be honest with you. We have said that of the National Judicial Council of Law of Judges, that the chairman of that council should not be a judge or the CJ. Let us bring people of integrity from outside the judicial system to be, in charge. The same thing here. We don't need a policeman or a man with police background to be the chairman of EFCC. We can have them as the CEOs, we can have them as the head, but not to be a chairman of the commission. We should be able to have a commission where people from diverse backgrounds are brought in, so that the man who will be the main managing director or CEO can now be a policeman with background. But for the commission, let us have people from diverse. There, you will see a change. Because let me be honest, once you are trained as a policeman, your way of thinking will be the same until you die. Let me give you an example. I have a very good friend. He's dead now, the great Marafa of Sokoto, Shinkafi. We've been friends for 45 years. He was a policeman. He became a lawyer. But I can tell you that when we discuss, he will tell you that any situation that occurs, the first thinking cap he puts on is that thinking cap of a policeman.
Well, I think that will be another moment. I'm hoping that, in the year 2017, we should have a moment with you so that we can talk more, in a more relaxed mood, and have some of those history of your personal moment with some of these great Nigerians. Robert Clarke, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, it's always a delight having you join us on Sunrise Daily.
Always my pleasure.